Hey there. Hello. Happy Friday. So glad that you are here. Let me just double check to make sure that I'm streaming live, going through Zoom. So it's a little bit different than going live on the page. Am I there? Am I there? No. Well, I hope you can see me. Give me a thumbs up if you can see me and hear me. That'd be amazing. Okay, I'm going to try it one more time. Oh, there I am. Okay, I am live. Okay, good. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, you can just post the comments and I get a notification that says that somebody made a comment. And so I would love for you to interact with me. If you're catching this replay on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment in there. I will answer all those comments and questions. If you do not have a piece of paper and a pen, I think you should get one because I think we're going to have a good conversation. I am going to try to keep this short because as I have been reviewing my previous Facebook Lives, they're a bit too long and nobody's got time for that. Besides, it's a Friday night and it's currently sunny here in Wisconsin. So why not go for an evening walk maybe? All right. So if you're new to these parts, my name is Valerie Bestland. I am a full-time flight paramedic here in Wisconsin, and I am also a part-time life and weight loss coach. I specialize in helping men and women in EMS lose weight because we have a complicated job and it's not as simple as eat less, move more. So today, what I want to talk to you about, okay, sorry, getting distracted. What I want to talk to you about, kind of teach you this concept, is called fat identity. And so this is why, what is happening? What is happening here? I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. Okay. We got to start over. I don't know what just popped up on my computer. I hope that this live is still going. Okay. So what we want to work on is what our fat identity is, because if you don't know what your fat identity is, my guess is that you're going to have a hard time with permanent, sustainable weight loss. And that is the goal, right? We don't want to lose a bunch of weight and then gain it back and do that like yo-yo dieting or that roller coaster business, right? And the reason why this happens is because most diet plans focus on one thing, one behavior that you're doing, right? It's either changing how you eat or just adding more exercise. And it is significantly more complicated than that. And so I think that there's so much more that we have to do. And I think we kind of have to start from the top and go down, right? So the top thing is our brain. So we first of all need to work on our brains before we're going to see any permanent weight loss. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, start jotting some notes down. So, fat identity, what is that? What is our identity? Our identity has two layers. The first layer is what we think about ourselves. The second layer is what we think other people think about us. So, on your piece of paper, write down, what do I think about me and my body, my weight, the size clothes that I wear, the size of my flight suit, my duty pants, whatever. Write down what your thoughts about where you currently are in your weight on a piece of paper. And then I want you to also write what you think other people think about you. And I think we think about or we worry about what people think about us, but do we ever really spend the time to write it down on a piece of paper? I thought this was a pretty eye-opening exercise when I did it. I don't know how long ago I did it, maybe a year or so ago. I was pretty surprised. So I think that that's super important. So your identity is just what you think about yourself and what other people think about you. We think it's also something that's kind of outside of us. Like your identity has something to do with things that aren't in your control, but that is not true. Your identity is based solely on your thoughts. Know about our thoughts is that our thoughts are all optional and we can think whatever we want, which is fantastic news, right? I think that's great news. So why do we have all these thoughts about our body? Is because we just think that they're the truth. We think that they're the circumstance and the model, right? The CTFAR model that I teach. We think that me being fat or me being overweight is just a circumstance. It's just the truth. It's something that I believe. I'm big boned. I've always been this way. Right? That is a thought. That is not a circumstance. Now, you can put your weight or what size clothes you wear in the circumstance line, and then you have lots of thoughts about that. But when you think something over and over and you believe it to be true, that forms a belief. And then our beliefs are all this collection of thoughts that make our identity. And what I want us to all be aware of is what those thoughts are, because I have a hunch that you're not aware of them and that it's the biggest reason that's keeping you stuck where you are, is because if you don't change these thoughts, they're always going to be there. They're kind of that undercurrent that we have of our thinking, our subconscious thought. It's always going to be there. And our thoughts create our feelings. Our feelings drive our actions, and our actions always give us our results. So what we think, we feel, we believe, we act upon, and we become. This is the beauty of the model, is that we can figure out how we get the result, which is our current weight, right? We can figure out how we got there. I love thinking about this. Okay, so I did the definition. So some examples of our fat identity would be, I'm fat, I'm disgusting, I can't lose weight, I just love food so much, right? What are some other ones? I should look at the ones that I wrote down. Well, whatever. You write down the ones that you have. So what is the obstacle, right? If the problem is we're unaware of our thoughts and it's keeping us stuck, then like what's getting in the way? Well, of course, what's getting in our way is our own brain, is our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own identity. And we have to learn how to make that shift into a different identity. Your brain does not want to do this. Even though you're uncomfortable where you are right now in your body, if you want to lose weight, it's still better to have that known discomfort than it is to go out and try and lose weight and have a new discomfort. Your brain would much rather stay right where it is because it kind of feels safe here. Even though we're still uncomfortable, we're just not uncomfortable enough to make that change into something that's more uncertain and more uncomfortable. But the price to your weight loss, to that goal weight, to your ideal body weight, the price you have to pay is with your discomfort. I hate to tell it to you, it's not as simple as just eating less food and moving your body more. It's not that simple, okay? It's not. So if we know what the obstacles are, then we can identify those obstacles, which is our thoughts, and then they become the roadmap or the things we need to address within ourselves to get us to where we want to go. So the number one solution is always, I feel like when I teach people things, is awareness. That's what we're doing right now, right? This is what I want you. You can work on it later tonight. Is I really want you to spend time, like 10, 15 minutes, writing down on a piece of paper or opening up I'm just learning Google Docs now. So I'm in the Googles all the time, learning how to do this. So you could type a Google Doc. I used to say Word document, but now it's a Google Doc. You could maybe type it because maybe you can type faster than you can write. And maybe that would be better for you. You have to do what works for you, right? You do you. It's one of my new favorite sayings. You do you. I need to get some water. This awareness is, you could do a thought download. I've taught before on how to do a thought download, right? That's just writing down all the thoughts that are going on in your brain. And with the way that I'm suggesting you do this fat identity one is that you really try to figure out what your thoughts are about you at your current weight. That's really what we want to get to, right? Let's see. The next thing is intention. So the first thing is we need to become aware. And the second thing is we need to be intentional with how we want to think. All thoughts are optional. Why do we want to think thoughts that make us feel negative, that drive us to not do anything or to do things that keep us where we're at? And then we get the same result. So we want to be intentional. I want you to spend some time writing down, right? What do you want to think about yourself at your current weight? What do you want other people to think about you at your current weight? This is a good thing to do, my friends. And then, this is the fun part, is I want you to think about you reaching your goal weight. Visualize yourself being there, right? Standing on the scale, seeing the number. What are you thinking about yourself then? What do you think other people are thinking about you when you reach your goal weight? Those thoughts then can be the way, the guide to get you to your goal. Does that make sense? Right? So if we think with intention, we can create the results that we want by the thoughts, because our thoughts always create our results. So for example, if you will put our current weight in the C line, then we have a thought, I'm disgusting. How does that make you feel? Disgusted. When we feel disgusted with ourselves, what do we do? Well, I know one of the things that I like to do is I like to buffer with false pleasures, right? I've talked about this before. So buffering with false pleasure is trying to get away from that feeling of disgust. And we do it with false pleasures, which are things like eating sugar and flour, overeating any food, drinking alcohol, watching Netflix, show after show after show, Netflix. What are some other? Oh, gambling, shopping, pornography. These are all false pleasures. These are things that give us instant gratification and they feel really good. But the problem is that they have a net negative consequence on the other side. So when it comes to our weight loss, if we're overeating, we're creating our overweight body. So when we feel disgusted, we buffer, we hide from people, we hide from ourselves. Maybe you get snappy with your friends, your coworker, your family. Maybe you ruminate about how disgusting you are and how terrible you feel. You have a lot of negative self-talk. You self-sabotage yourself. You just say, F it. And then our result is then we disgust ourselves. I am disgusted by myself and how I'm behaving and how I'm acting, right? So just by having the simple thought, like I'm disgusting, isn't going to motivate you to get you to eat according to your plan, to even make a plan, to not overeat, to not overindulge in alcohol, or to watch too much television or whatever. Negative feelings do not drive positive action. If we cannot hate ourselves thin. We can't expect different results when we're constantly thinking negative things about ourselves. So that was just kind of an example of how the model works. So then the third thing for our solution is that you have to take action, right? And so this means you have to keep being aware of what you're thinking. You have to keep thinking thoughts intentionally that you want to get to. And then this is tricky. So the old thoughts will come up, right? Because they're patterns, they're habits. We think about 60,000 thoughts per day, but most of them are not new thoughts. They're thoughts that we continually think. So when you're hopping on the scale and you see the number and you think, oh my God, I'm so disgusting. You can literally just say to yourself in that moment, like, nope, I don't think that. I'm not thinking that thought today. Like, this is just a number. It is. It's just a number. One of the things that I find super helpful with the scale specifically is, number one, before you get on the scale, you should, think about how you want to think about what the number is going to be. Are you going to be really excited? Are you going to be really pissed? Right? Kind of get clean thinking about how you want to think before you get on the scale. But when you get on the scale and you look at the number, somebody else could be really excited with that number. It might not be the number that I want, but it helps me get perspective, right? It's like somebody could be super jazzed up. Maybe they've lost 100 pounds and they're at what I weigh on the scale, and they might think that that's amazing. So this is so funny, you guys. So I was just watching a coach training with Jody Moore. She was one of my coaches for a couple of years. And she was saying, like, you don't want to think really, you don't want to be super excited when you jump on the scale and it's down, just as much as you don't want to be super down and depressed when you hop on the scale that the number has gone up or it stayed the same. She's like, you just kind of want to be in the middle. Because if you get really excited, you're going to have that rebound. And I thought that's super smart, right? Just to have more of an even keeled thinking about how your thoughts are when you step on the scale. Okay, so I kind of went off on that. Sorry. So let's talk a little bit more about some models. So I'll give you some more examples of how our fat identity keeps us where we are. So another thought could be, the circumstance would be food, we'll say. And your thought might be, I love food. I mean, I just love food so much, right? You just think you're telling me the truth, by the way. You think that's a circumstance, but you loving food is not a circumstance. It is a thought. And when you think that thought, how does it make you feel? I wrote down, like, it makes me feel like a lot of over desire, or it makes me have the urge to want to eat food when I think about how much I love food, right? So then what do you do when you feel desire or an urge to eat food? Well, most of us eat the food. We answer the urge, we answer the desire. And then the result is we keep creating our love for food because we keep answering our desires and answering our urges. So we keep that model going all the time. When you think the thought, I love food, I just love it. Instead of thinking that, it's like maybe you could shift it to, food provides fuel for my body. How does that thought make you feel? Makes you feel maybe, I don't know, committed or determined, or maybe not much of anything, right? It's just fuel. And then what do? Well, then you only eat enough food to fuel your body. And then your result is that you use food to fuel your body. Super simple, right? Sorry. Oh my gosh. Allergies. What in the world? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Fat identity. This is super good work to do. So just to quickly recap, we all have a fat identity, what we think about ourselves and what we think other people think about us. You want to become aware of it. You want to think thoughts intentionally that will get you to the goal that you want, right? And then we need to just take action, which means we need to do the work. We need to do the writing. And I know a lot of people don't like to do writing, but really, if you want to lose weight, right, you need to know what you're eating. You need to know what you're thinking so that you can make changes towards that. So if you have any questions, let me know. Send me an email if you want, old-fashioned email, val@hemscoach.com. Write a comment, send me a direct message, whatever. I'm always around. Yeah. And I don't know if you heard the news, but I'm now writing blogs for IA Med, which is amazing. They are a total amazing company. And so I highly suggest that you head over to their Facebook page, check them out, read my blog on well-being. I think it's pretty funny. I don't know what other people think about it yet, but let me know what your thoughts are. So you guys have an amazing Friday. It's Friday, right? Yeah. Have an amazing Friday. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. And If you have any questions, if you need any help, I'm always here. All right. Bye, everybody.